Yep.
To be our new physician general in the state of Pennsylvania. This appointment will make Dr. Rachel Levine the highest ranking transgender person to ever hold a position within state government. Aren't you glad our state is leading the way down that road to hell now? So to give you an idea of what direction our new governor is going to steer our state in the future. Been in office less than a month and he's already trying to convince us that that is an acceptable lifestyle. And being the physician general will give her, him, whatever, the means to push this abomination in our state. And now that Olympic gold medalist Bruce Jenner, who remember won the decathlon back in 1976, he was on the Wheaties box. He's now becoming a woman too. What we used to call transvestites will soon be just as accepted as gay and lesbians are. And we in the church will be considered bigots and intolerant for not cheering this great accomplishment. And our own government is now guaranteeing that any transgender illegal aliens that we are holding in detentions will be given free of charge any hormone therapy they need to continue with their own sex changes. On your dollar. Or how about this lie the government is now telling us? How much unemployment has gone down? While the facts are that the number of full-time jobs as a percent of our total population is the lowest that it has ever been in our entire history. Our kids are being lied to at school by telling them that evolution is fact and not an unproven theory. We all know we're being lied to about global warming. The data from the past they've discovered has deliberately been changed so that a global government can put a global carbon tax on us all. You never hear this on television or anything, but over 19,000 scientists have signed a petition saying it's bunk, including the founder of the Weather Channel. And some are calling the fiddling with the temperature data the biggest science scandal ever. The biggest lie that science has ever made. Think of that. We're being lied to about Islam being a peaceful religion. About Allah and our God being one and the same. Many in the financial community are lying to us these days about how secure our money is. We were lied to about Obamacare. We're being lied to about gun violence so that the UN can disarm us. We're being lied to about the history of our nation and of the influence that Christians had in the founding of this great land. Remember what we heard the last Wednesday night on our study of Islam, where they're now teaching in the schools and in our textbook that Muslims discovered America.
I heard that on the radio.
Think of that. We're being lied to about the GMOs in our food. It's not hurting us. Nor is our water being poisoned through fluoridation. Nor are those harmless chemtrails you see in the sky behind planes poisoning our air or our soil. No lying there. But Alzheimer's disease has increased by 68% in the last few years. Many are saying that's the reason. We're being lied to, and this is a biggie. We're being told that religion is the biggest cause of war. it's not. It's politics.
That's right.
We're being lied to even by some in the church these days, and being told that homosexuality is normal and that God is okay with it. Gracepoint Church in Nashville became the first evangelical megachurch just in the last 2 weeks to take an open stand in support of same-sex marriage. One of the church's attendees, singer Carrie Underwood, announced her support with her pastor. When Stan Mitchell announced that the church, and this is, when we talk a mega church, this is 10,000 or more, usually. He announced that that church would now permit homosexuals to marry in the church, dedicate their children in the church, and serve in any office in the church. Many are following that lie that is going to damn their souls to hell. Come to think of it, you know, I can't think of too many areas today where we are not being lied to in some way. Of course, by now you're probably convinced that I'm some kind of conspiracy theory nut. But all I'm doing is telling you the facts. Amen. In our world, employers lie to their employees. Vice versa. People lie on their income taxes. Husbands love to lie to their wives, and wives to their husbands. Children lie to their parents. And sometimes parents even lie to their children. Even pastors lie to their churches by not preaching the truth. And many lie to God when they stand in front of their church and say, I do or I will. One thing I'm certain of, real Christians don't lie on purpose.
Amen. That's right.
Because the definition of lying is to make an untrue statement with the intent to deceive. To tell something false that's untrue with the intent to deceive. Oh, we all may get our facts mixed up sometimes. Things like that. Sometimes we exaggerate before we've even realized it. I understand that. But we cannot make it a habit to deliberately tell things that are not true. Amen. That is bold-faced lying, even with little white lies, so to speak. There's a book entitled The Day America Told the Truth, published in 1992, and it claimed at that time, this is 1992, almost 23 years ago, it claimed at that time that 91% of those surveyed in America lie routinely about matters they consider trivial. 38% they said lie about important matters. Like one of our attorneys being in Huntington saying, I'm a lawyer for 10 years, and she wasn't. Mm-hmm. I mean, 86% admitted to lying regularly to their parents. 73% admitted to lying regularly to their friends. 75% to their siblings. And 69% to their spouses. The Day America Told the Truth. That's what it says in that book. Sounds to me like we've become a nation of liars.
Yep.
It gave no statistics in the book about how many lie to themselves, but I'm sure that number has to be high as well. Yet, God and our Bible, our Holy Scriptures, not just in one little isolated verse somewhere, but our holy God and our Holy Scriptures declare in no uncertain terms that God hates lying, and that all liars that have not been forgiven, all liars shall have their part in the lake that burns with fire and brimstone. And folks, that's no lie.
Amen.
That's right.
That's no lie.
Amen.
That's the truth. People who call themselves Christians ought to be the most honest people you know. If somebody who calls themselves a Christian tells you, I will do this, I will pay you this, I will, whatever you want to put in there, you ought to be able to count on that. But unfortunately, it's not just in the world that we see lying, is it? And so we ought to be careful. If we tell somebody we'll do something, if we can't, we should apologize for it. Tell them why. Make it right. We tell somebody we pay them something for something, you don't just forget it. If you didn't, you need to go back and say, I'm sorry, here it is, or I'll pay you real quick, and then do it. Whatever it is, we ought to be the most honest people here in the church that you know. Wish it were so. Wish I could say that professing Christians are the most honest people you know. But I've been lied to by a lot of people who call themselves Christians many, many times. Oh, I pray that we will see that lying just absolutely is a no-no if we're going to say we walk with Jesus and we're living for Him. May God help us, from the youngest to the oldest. Luke told me he wanted to hear what Pappy had to say this morning. So I hope he got that.
Yep.
Hope he got that. The youngest one, but right up to the oldest one. I hope we recognize that God hates lying. Let's stand. Let's bow our heads. Let's join together in a closing word of prayer. May God help all of us. And if you've been guilty of maybe telling what you call a little white lie here or there, and you don't think it's that big of a deal, well, I hope you'll see that God thinks it is a big deal, that we ought to try as best we can to tell the truth. And if you misspeak, that's different than lying. But if you misspeak, go back and speak right when you discover that you misspoke. Go back and make it right. Go back and correct it. Go back and make it so that God will never point a finger at you and say, you liar. Let's join together in closing word